Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's talk about how to avoid lifestyle creep. How to avoid luxury things we spend our money on getting so out of control that your lifestyle creeps regardless of how much you earn and you never see the benefit of earning more money or bringing in more streams of income. These are topics that I used to talk about more on my second channel, and since I have no longer been posting on that channel, I've had a lot of requests from you guys to talk a little bit about finance and managing monies on this channel. So today we're going to talk about how to stop luxury loving and lifestyle creep from ruining your financial life. Point number one, let's acknowledge that I wanted my lifestyle to creep. There was a time in my life when I earned an awful lot less money. I had a lot of debt. I had a lot less disposable income. And when I started to earn more money, I wanted my lifestyle to creep. One of the very reasons that I was working as hard as I was working, one of the reasons that I opened my own business was because I wanted my lifestyle to creep. I wanted to be able to buy a bigger home for myself and my family. I always wanted to have dogs. They needed space. I wanted to be able to have holidays. I wanted to be able to shop. Maybe not knowing it would be to this level, but I wanted to be able to introduce things into my life that I couldn't afford at that time. So yes, when I started to earn more money, I wanted a certain amount of lifestyle creep. But for me, there has to be boundaries. And in this video, we're going to talk about how to put those in place, because if there are not boundaries, it is very, very easy for your lifestyle to continue to grow and creep in line with your income growing and creeping to the point that you don't see any benefit, or indeed you're still living month to month or still living in debt. Number two, accept and realise that there's no outside limit. Nobody else is going to limit this for you. There is no limit to how much money you can spend on handbags, on holidays, on watches, on fast cars, on houses. There's always a bigger house. There's always a fancier watch, a bigger diamond, a glitzier handbag. There's always something else to buy. So if you don't put limits in place for yourself, the outside world's not going to do it for you. So you need to look at your own finances and set and decide limits that we're going to talk about to ensure that you don't continue to fall into that trap that there's always more. There's always somebody with more money in the room. There's always somebody with a bigger diamond, a bigger house. There's always something to want, to keep going, to spend more money. And if you don't limit that, there's going to be no end to it. Number three, and the first thing to do if you're serious about trying to manage your finances and not let your income creep, is to go through every single one of your outgoings and list them down. Write them out, write the pennies and pound amount so you know exactly how much you're spending every single month and you know what you're spending it on. Now have a look through that list and see if everything on it is something you're happy with. Are they essentials? Are they things that you need to be spending that amount of money on? And if they are, come to the total. When you get that total, when you get paid at the start of the month, transfer that money out of your account into a separate bills account. And that way, no matter what you do with the rest of your finances, your bills are always going to be paid and your essentials are always going to be covered. I would actually make that payment an automated payment. So as soon as your money comes in the first of the month, it automatically goes into a different account and everything in that account is taken care of. Next is include in that list the amount of money that you are going to save or invest on a monthly basis. Don't make saving or investing your money an option. Don't make it a choice that you have to think about at the end of the month or the start of the month. Don't make it a choice between going out for dinner or going on that trip or putting your investments away. Make sure that amount is included within your absolute essentials, included in that list. Transfer it out so you don't have to have the internal debate and you never miss a payment into your savings and investments, because those are going to be more important to you in the long run than buying the extra cocktail on a night out. Next number is set your financial goals on a yearly basis. Now that might seem extreme or it might seem too long. A lot of people will talk about their monthly goal and how much they want to save monthly. But if you have a yearly goal and what you want to achieve within the year, it will allow you to sit down and break that down into the 12 months and you will see how much you have to spend and save and what decisions you have to make on a monthly basis to be able to hit that goal. Because there's no point having in your head, I want to save £10,000 this year, but having your savings set up at £100 a month because you haven't thought about how you're going to reach that long-term yearly goal. You're thinking you're saving every month, but you're never going to reach where you need to go. So look at the figure that you want to save on a yearly basis, break it down into a monthly amount. If that is something that you can actually properly work with, because you need to be realistic in your money. You can't leave yourself zero to live on every month. You can't leave yourself with no disposable income, because you will not be able to stick to a budget like that. We all have to live and we have to enjoy life because you only get one. So have a realistic budget for what you want to save in a year. Break that down onto a monthly basis and automate that payment. Have that automatically coming out, so as the amount that goes to your yearly savings goal goes. It's gone. It's not in your disposable income to spend, and therefore you don't risk overspending and falling into the lifestyle creep that goes beyond and above, meaning that you can't meet your financial goals. When you have then transferred your money into your bills account, transferred your money into your savings or investments, look at how much is left of your monthly income and have a very serious chat with yourself. How much of that can you live with spending on fun? How much of that can you live with spending on handbags, spending on holidays, spending on watches, spending on going out, whatever it is that you love to do? What is the figure of that you can go to bed at night and sleep and not feel guilty and not think I'm overspending, and have that money set aside as your fun money? I do this every single month. That money gets transferred into a separate spending account, and it's from that account that I spend and I buy these things, and therefore I don't risk creeping my lifestyle or spending more money than I should, because I've already assessed my finances, came to the figure I can live with on a monthly basis that I'm going to spend on luxury, handbags, or on holidays, or whatever else I want to spend it on. I can live with that, and all of my other money is taken care of and accounted for. When you have come up with these numbers, the spending money, the bills money, the saving and investment money, write them down and set them as hard limits. Set them as lines in the sand that you don't cross, so you don't overspend. You don't dip into your investments, you don't dip into your bills money, your spending money. It's all there. And those limits, those numbers, are hard and fast limits that you don't go over. And if you set them as hard and fast limits, you won't risk going over them and spending more and more money and your lifestyle getting out of control to the fact that you have no clue what's going on in your finances, that you're spending, that you've got debt, that you've got living month to month, that you've no savings, no investments, that if there was a month, if something happened, you don't have an emergency fund. That is a dangerous position to be in, especially in today's economy. So set these figures as hard limits. Next, and I say this as someone who sits on the internet and talks to you mainly about fancy dancy luxury handbags. Limit temptation. Go through the accounts that you follow on social media and delete them or unfollow them. The ones that have unattainable lifestyles, the ones that you are never going to be able to reach, or the ones that you're going to have to spend every penny that you earn trying to reach that lifestyle. Because when you follow certain accounts, they make it look easy. They make it look like everybody should have that amount of money. Everybody should be going on those trips. Everybody should be flying in a helicopter and a Ferrari and buying 25 bags a month and Rolexes and diamonds and all of the bling. It looks easy. And it makes us feel crap about ourselves. It makes us look at what we have managed to achieve and what we can spend and think, but we're never going to be there. They're so far ahead of us. We're not doing good enough. We're not reaching our own heights. We need to get to where they are. And the next thing you know, you're spending and you're spending and you're spending, trying to keep up with a lifestyle that's being shown to you that's not realistic, that you're never going to be able to keep up with, that's just outside what is your realism. And there's many of them that I unfollowed that I used to follow and think, I need to be doing that. I want to go and fly in that helicopter. I can't do that, not without bankrupting myself. So I had to limit the temptation and unfollow those accounts, because another thing you don't want to do, don't follow social media that makes you feel rubbish about yourself. Don't follow accounts that makes you feel like you're not good enough, you're not doing well enough, that you're not achieving enough, that you can't spend enough. All that will do is make you feel bad, and you will fall into the cycle of trying to spend to keep up, and that is a cycle that's taking you nowhere. Next is, if you have reached a stage in your life that I have, thankfully, that I did allow my lifestyle to creep, and I am happy with where my lifestyle is at now, and there is nothing else. We don't want to buy another house, we want to stay in this house. We're not trying to buy more things or raise more things. We are happy with where we are. So if you've reached that point, because before I reached that point, when I did get a pay rise, when I did get extra money, that money went towards being able to buy the bigger house, being able to go on the holidays, because that's things I wanted to add into my lifestyle. But if you've reached a point where your lifestyle is at where you're happy with, if you then do get a pay rise, or you do get monetized on YouTube, or you get another income stream, Pretend it didn't happen. If you already have a lifestyle that you're happy with and a budget you're happy working in, and you're not actually trying to work towards expanding your lifestyle a bit, pretend it didn't happen. Stick to the original budget, and the extra money that you get in every month, invest it, save it, put it into something where your money's actually going to work for you. Take advantage of compounding interest. It is your friend if you're trying to save and invest money. Put that money away. Let it work for you. You've worked hard to earn that money. Let that money now start working for you. Don't just leave it in your normal accounts, because it will get sucked in to the spending. It will get sucked into being nice new things, and you won't actually get the benefit of it. You will have earned extra money, doing extra work, doing a side hustle, getting a pay rise, but you won't actually be long-term benefiting from it because you're going to spend all the money. So let it work for you, invest it, and stick to the money you were already spending. If you have recently obtained a new income stream, or if you have got a pay rise, think about what to do with that money to make it work for you. As I said, compounding interest is your friend. Take financial advice. It might be best for you to increase your payment contributions into your pension. It might be better to increase your investments. It might be better to start a stock portfolio. There are options of what you should do with that money to make it work for you. Take financial advice on it so as that money is put to work before you get the chance to spend it. If you are thinking of buying something, if you get more money and your goal has been to move house, for example, take your time to consider the cost of what you're going to be buying, and make sure that what you're looking at is actually reasonable within your lifestyle. If you go to the biggest house, the biggest, most expensive house you can afford, make sure you look at all of the hidden costs of that. Make sure you figure out how much that's actually going to cost you on a monthly basis. Because what you don't want to happen is to get the pay rise or get the bonus and the extra money, but you have expanded your lifestyle so much without actually properly considering and assessing the hidden costs and how much the costs are going to be overall. And you could still be living paycheck to paycheck. You could still be living in debt. You still might not have enough money to cover everything because you've allowed your limits to be pushed beyond what they ever should have been, because you properly didn't assess the real cost of buying the thing before you bought it. If, for example, that thing was a bigger house, as well as the mortgage payments, think about the rates, think about the upkeep. Do you need a gardener? Do you need someone to do the hedges? Do you need someone to clean it? Do you need someone to paint it? Think of all those extra hidden costs that can be significant and you never considered them before you bought the house. Next, if you have been saving for a special purchase, for example, what you're thinking of to spend your extra money on is a boat, or a sports car, or a camper van, or something really fancy that's always been your dream to have a very realistic look at your lifestyle. How often are you actually going to be able to use the thing? Because unless you're buying property, most of those other examples are depreciating assets, meaning they're going to lose value after you buy them. Think about how often you're actually going to be able to use and enjoy them. If it's a camper van or a boat, how often in your life, with your work and maybe your children or your dogs or your family commitments, how much free time do you have to actually go and enjoy that new toy? Because it might, when you figure that out and see how often you could actually use it, be more cost effective to rent it the times you would actually be using it. To buy the thing's expensive. If you can only use it 4 times a year, it might work out better for you and more financially sensible to rent it for those 4 times, pay that cost. Yes, people will say that's dead money, but if owning it is going to cost you 2-3 times per year and it's a depreciating asset and you will need to do these figures for yourself, work out what is the best option for you and what's actually going to be better work for your money, buying it or potentially renting it. And lastly, to avoid your lifestyle creeping, be careful about not keeping track of your finances and spending and shopping without consideration. If, for example, you shop on a credit card or a store card and then you clear that at the end of the month, be careful doing that if you don't know what you should be spending and you don't know your limits, because you could end up shopping and shopping and shopping and shopping, and then you get to the end of the month and you've spent far more than you ever envisaged spending. You can't actually clear that in a month, or you don't want to clear it, and then you're adding debt over month to month. So just because you're earning more money and there's more money and more leeway in your accounts, don't lose track of what you're actually spending, because it can get out of control and cause you to fall back into debt even when you're earning quite a lot of money in the first place. So these are my tips on how to avoid lifestyle creep. This comes from somebody who went from earning very little to now being in a much better position, having opened my own business that's been running for 13 years. I am someone who admits that when I did that and I started to earn more money, I wanted my lifestyle to creep. I wanted it to get to a certain level. But once you get to that level, you need to draw the reins in for yourself, put your lines in the sand, know what you're doing with your money and make your money work for you, because if you don't, it's very easy to end up just spending everything you earn. No matter how much extra you earn, you just keep going because there's always something bigger, better and blingier to buy. Thank you so much for watching this. If this has been useful in any way, please do consider giving it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please do consider subscribing. And if you're not done with me yet, I'm going to leave another video for you on the screen to enjoy. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching me. Please take care and I will see you again in the next one.